Alrighty. I hope everybody's having a great Wednesday. I know a lot is going on in the world, but we hope to be that positive and breath of fresh air at this uncertain time with the polls and everything. So definitely want to be mindful of that. But we're here just to give you a break from all that. So yes. Um, so this is our virtual workshop series, EC Circle Sessions. My name is Sarah, and Jazz is here too. She can wave. And we're the founders of Distant Connections. It is a creative campaign designed to connect others through creativity and creating a process that we can all learn and grow together and connect with one another as well. So our goal for DC Circle Sessions is actually to support our creatives like Jocelyn here, providing a space for members to share their insights and push each other and grow in our certain crafts. So we do have the lovely Jocelyn or Josie. And you did mention how to say this. So I'm going to try not to butcher it. Altier?
Yes.
Yes. The designer. She says it's French for studio. So that's really
yes. French for studio.
Yes. Who will be leading this workshop on DIY porch displays. Jocelyn is a designer and event stylist / DIY unicorn who is based in Maryland, and she's also one of our season 2 collaborators. So make sure to follow us to check her out with her partner and what they created. So before we do get started, I know we already did our names, but if you didn't say where you're from, go ahead and put that in there too. And what your creative discipline is as well. Just curious. Ooh, creative producer. Yes. Very cool. And I know everything is creative, so don't feel free to put in if you're an engineer or if you're
right. Yeah.
or anything like
right. That. You need to have a certain mindset for all of that stuff to be innovative and re-innovative and take what we already have and actually make it better or improve it. So yes. Yes.
Definitely.
Well, Tram, I'm sure by the time you watch my video, you will be a pro at something. I promise.
Baking, yes.
Oh, yes, baking, definitely. Everybody can't do that. That is a good skill. That's an excellent skill.
All right. Well, thanks everyone for joining in on that. But I'll definitely head it over and you can take it over, Josie. So go ahead and give your introduction.
Okay, so hi, I'm Josie, but sometimes I say Jose just to kind of be more fancy, but either way, it doesn't matter. But it's hello world, it's your girl, Josie Altier, the designer, where I am just here to inspire and just create different ways on how you can take nothing and make it something. And also just overall on how you can apply your creativity into the actual real natural world. So today I'll be giving you something that I live by or follow, and it's the 3 M's, which is movement, mood, and me. And so movement in this case for the porch is just all different kinds of volume and texture, what plays against each other or what complements each other more in a sense of plants and pots and stuff of that nature. Mood is just what kind of setting are you trying to create? What kind of atmosphere? And in this case, I went more fun, whimsical, because I am a fun, whimsical person. And then lastly is me, and me just basically means me. When you look at my porch or just anything in life, does what you wear or what you say or what you do fully represent you? Like people can tell just by, oh, well, she wears pink a lot, so I know she likes pink. That's one thing that you can take away from me. When you think of me, you think of pink, like just little nuggets, little details about things that we do or say can be very relatable to people. So that way you can be your own, what do they call it, conversation piece, if that makes sense, when people create things in life. So after that, I thank Jazz and Sarah for this opportunity. This is cool. I always wanted to do something like this, but I never really was really excited about it. I'm kind of getting out of my shell there in that aspect, because I mean, I'm talented and all, but I just keep stuff to myself. But I said, I can't be selfish. Time to share with the world and share with other people. And like I said, just inspire, make somebody's day, even make my day, just by me giving my gift, because I am a gift giver. That's one thing I am, out of all things, a gift giver. So hope you enjoy this little snap it. Well, not snap it. I guess you can call it a time lapse. We'll say that because that's what it is. Time lapse that I put together just so you can see me work from literally day to night. And I love it. It was awesome. I surprised my mother even. She didn't even know I was doing it. So she got a good, pleasant surprise out of the process. She thought it was Christmas outside. And I said, no, it's the fall. Christmas is next, though. Stay tuned.
Thanks, Josie. I'm going to start sharing the screen so we can go into the time lapse.
So, of course, what it says, DIY porch, and this is just a blank canvas and me just showing all the materials and stuff that I use, which was old cabinets that I had laying around. I painted them, some lanterns that I found from Five and Below. They were used for Halloween, but you'll see how I made them into something more elegant, because I like to take things what people think is the norm and actually make it into something else. And I keep flipping these cabinets back and forth because it gave me an idea to actually, after I paint them, that it can be a 2-for-1 thing, which is on one side, I can write fall inspirational stuff. And on the other side, I can actually put Christmas stuff on it or holiday related. So that'd be a whole nother video too. So right now I'm just getting my colors in order, which is golds and silvers. I like to use both metals. That way there's contrast. I'm all about contrast. And this is just all the things that you'll see me use. And then mood, this is where mood comes into play. And in this place, I'm playing with the metals and lighting to create a mood that I'm looking for. And the pop of color, which you see is the orchid, is just something that I thought, well, might as well use that versus orange, because most people use orange for fall. But in this case, I was like purple, because purple's still a color and it's hardly used, and it's actually very played down. A lot of people don't think you can work with purple when it comes to decorating, really. They think it's too much or too bold. But me, I like to challenge myself and things. So that's what I did. After that, the little bulbs, I end up painting them gold, as you can see, versus them being orange, just so they'll, stick with the theme that I'm going with. And overall, this is most of the things that I'll be using when doing this. And you'll just see me place things throughout and come and go. And those candles came from the dollar store. Don't underestimate the dollar store. It's going outside. I mean, you can't go wrong with the dollar store. And I kept them on last night, and I went outside last night and they're actually still on. So the battery's pretty good. Now, the string lights you just saw, which is what they're called, string lights. And most people tend to call them Christmas lights, which I don't like, because they're not just for Christmas. Lights can be used for anything. As you can see, many people, especially the pandemic, you really need to set a tone in your backyard or just somewhere, just so you have some sense of, what you're doing. And so now here we go into the movement, which is not only me you'll see, but as you can see, the spiky plants, some little other leafy plants. I did mostly greenery because, it's the fall and everything is starting to die out. So actually you'll see throughout the video, I had added some fake foliage that way to work. But there you go. You see the signs all together. It just says giving thanks. And right now I'm just trying to figure out where I would like to put stuff, all the lanterns with the lights and candles and just the overall feel. And I keep going back and forth literally a lot, because when you do your porch display, it is important to have balance. So when you do stuff, I like to do things opposite 2s and 3s or 3s and 2s and mood. And so it's only right that I show you mood during the nighttime. So that's why you see the big switch like that. And these are literally just string lights that I had laying around the house that were like, half of them don't even work, but how I place them accordingly, it makes it seem like it's one big, huge masterpiece. And I actually wanted to use two different types of lights to set the mood because I like to work with, like I say, different. So this is cool and warm once again. So the warm would be gold and then the cooler would be silver. And overall, I'm just showing you different angles so you can see all the textures that I'm playing with, all the stuff that I used earlier, the beaded garland, the lanterns, just the different elements of putting everything together. And then when you look at it, kind of looks ombre. And like I said, I was going with that whimsical look. And of course, the me. So this is a good example, I would say, what uh fall, it doesn't have to be fall, just life period of just being thankful or give thanks. Like I said, I'm a person of giving, a person of, just living in the moment. And I just thought I like to create magic or just moments that are memorable for people and for myself too. And so while configuring how I wanted to do the lights, there's like different ways how you can literally take all the lights that I see and instead of them out like I did it, you can actually stuff them inside of the lanterns instead. And that would create a whole nother different type of mood or ambience. And that's what I talked about earlier as far as taking the fake leaves, because, it's the winter, fall time. So plants are going to start dying out. So just kind of add in something just to give it a little life. And the give, like I said, those are cabinets. You wouldn't know if they were cabinets if I didn't tell you that those were cabinets. So once again, that's where that whole DIY recyclable aspect comes in. And with the wreath, I know it didn't show clearly, but it was just purple. And I actually added more purple flowers and gold picks just to help, tie in and bring everything. And this wreath was actually the inspiration of doing my porch, because it's like, okay, all I got is a purple wreath. What else can we do? So once I got that in motion, then everything else just kind of fell into place. And the colors that I use, the blacks and silvers, people usually go for the traditional whites and wood tones. I mean, that's cool if that works for you, but I tend to like to push the edge a bit. So I decided to go more, I guess you'd say, modern colors in this age, to where black and white is what I played more on to help bring everything and tie everything together. Because most people try to coordinate with their house, but my house is red and I didn't want to do red or the traditional fall colors. So I really had to strategically think about the color choices. And so that's why I really stuck with the gold, silver, and black, because that way the little pops of the additional colors that I use won't take away from the house as a whole. And this is me just showing you different angles and stuff of how, depending on people driving in, driving out, or you walking in, walking out, you can, see the different angles. And then once again, with balance, I mean, most people would do things side by side, but I tend to like to engage the eye in different ways. That way you get different angles. So that's why I decided to put the give more up than the thanks, just to, give it a little different spin. But overall, I like it. I love it. I would probably add some pumpkins to this if you want. You don't have to. And that's another stereotype. People think you always got to have pumpkins when it comes to fall things. But in this case, no, you really don't. Just as long as you create a sense of warmth and welcoming or inviting feeling, you can really play with this any kind of way. And then more so, even if you don't have this particular amount of space on your porch or deck, you can easily take a simple pot with a plant in it, make your sign to put it on one side, and take just one thing of like 50 count string lights and, intertwine it in accordingly. And that'll be just as elegant, just as beautiful, just as a statement piece as this is, even though it's more on a more larger scale. Um, all of these are actually, some of them are solar lights, and that's another tip. People really don't think about that. And some are remote. That way I'm not always running back and forth, because that can be annoying. But the warmer lights, they are plug-in, but the cooler lights are actually buttons. And the baskets that you see, I don't know if you saw the little zigzags with the black. I actually made those too. And they were just dark and teal, but I wanted to bring them up a little level. So that's why I did the black and gold zigzag to once again help tie in everything. But everything that you see, literally, I already had laying around the house. And I'll say one thing: a can of spray paint and Elmer's glue, because that's what I use to glue those letters on, go a long way. That it really does. Like, you really don't need to spend a lot in order to make something as such. You just got to kind of have the mindset, creativity, inspiration, whether it's from, somebody you saw do their version, or Pinterest, or like in this case for me, it was just one simple reef, and I just kind of threw it out all over the place on my porch because it's something that I wanted. But this right here I really love, because you can see how I use those lanterns. You wouldn't think it was for Halloween at all, really. Um, and purple, I mean, purple is a color of what they say is royalty, or just richness. And that's what I wanted to create, to where it can just be, a different vibe. And so by overall looking at everything, I guess you could say this is my story. This is me. This is, what I do. I like to put things on display per se, but it's more of not a show off. It's more of a show and tell, tell my story, or tell somebody, you know, uh, be thankful or give thanks, or you're more than likely to have a sense of comfort, or a sense of, friendliness, like easy to talk to, or just, I mean, overall, you can take the aspect of the three M's and just put it in your own uh, personal lives, to where it's, the way you, dress, or the way you look, or the way you walk, the way you talk, mood, like depending on, like, not even like how you're feeling, but just internally with yourself, how you choose to tune into things can set a different mindset or a different feeling that people may feel comfortable or like about you. And then anything that you do, it should always be you per se, or me per se, of just how they know that, okay, well, this signature, I know for a fact that's them. Or the way they make their spaghetti sauce, if they taste it blindly, they know that's you. Or even like on your job, they know that you're the one who always gets the meetings together, and you always put pins in a certain aspect, or you write a certain quote of the day. They know that's you. So overall, that's why I put title here, because instead of me, it could be you. So that's why I put title here. That was actually on purpose, not on accident, I promise. But overall, this is it. I like it. And like I said, I will be doing one for Christmas, but um it was really easy. It was a little, challenging just to figure out. That was the main thing for placement. But once you get your placement, you really can hone in on how you want to do it, because there's actually no right or wrong way. I will say that. It just all depends on you and what you prefer. What's your preference? What's your style? What's your, um, how to, or what's your thought process on what you think coordinates together? Because what people might not think will work, actually, most likely it will work. And in this case, I haven't seen anything like this. I mean, I've seen plenty, and most of them are pretty much, the same, you know, pumpkins here, haystacks there, this and the third. But I just want to create something that's inspiring. So I hope anybody can just look at this, take it and run with it, and just with a simple uh, things here and there that you have in your home, literally, you can go ahead and make something, if not similar, or even if more. And like I said, it doesn't have to be this grand. It could be something as small as a sign, a lantern, and some string lights, and that will make just as much as an impact as this particular thing would. And so as I'm getting in closer, I just want you to, of course, see all the different detail, play and texture. And like I told you about the string lights, you can actually put them inside a lantern, and they'll make all the difference in the world. But yeah, for I think it's Tran who said that you think you don't know how to do anything. I think you have plenty to do based on this, literally, because those letters handmade. There's no right or wrong way. Just take whatever you have and throw it out there, because Nowadays, that's all anybody does anyway. And they seem to get a lot of encouragement and vice versa, a lot of disencouragement. But that's how life goes. But you still have to be comfortable in your own skin and be confident in what you do. And that's what gives other people that same amount of confidence or uh, likeness of your stuff to want to see more and be more engaging. Once again, Joseph Thier. This is my last little display. Don't forget the 3 M's, which are movement, mood, and then lastly, we have me, which is really pretty.
Love that. Amazing.
Oh, nice. Yes. Thank you. Yeah.
Great stuff. So good.
Thank you, Erin. Yeah.
Great. So thank you, Josie.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Q&A portion now. Where
got you. Okay. Okay. So Tram, she says, sometimes I don't know where to start. Yes, that happens a lot. When trying to start, try to have a color palette, or like in this case, like I said, I had a wreath. Like start with something that you already have, and then you can find ways to extend it out into the bigger picture, if that makes sense. Because most of the time you really don't have much to start with, but as you continue to, work and look for things, you kind of have an idea of where to go. But what works for me is trial and error. Technically, that's one of the ways, or inspirations in this case, I learned is from trial and error. Because I'll see a lot of stuff and I'll try it, and it might not be quite as pretty or perfect as I want it to be. But the more I get into it, I kind of find my own method that works best for me. And then mine's is not, if even better, but it's just as nice to what you see. And then, like I said, you can actually apply that to life, period. To where a lot of us, we think that just because they're known for the best scones or the valedictorian or whatever the case may be, that what we have or what we do is not as important or special or of as value, when really the reason why they are who they are is because they basically took in them fully and ran with it. They took whatever that they know that they're best at and applied it to them, and now they're able to just take it and run with it in any way. And once you have a certain comfort in what you are about, that's where the whole idea of, okay, this is what I can do, and just throw it out there. So for you not knowing where to start, I'll just say start with something small that you may have, and you'll be able to pick up different things to have a full picture. And also looking at different things too, that helps. Getting inspiration from other people or things or whatever is new, but then try to make it your own. And just because it's your own, and in this case, it's not the glitz and glam, and you're more of a country farm chic, that doesn't necessarily mean that it's not of importance or just as beautiful as somebody who uses diamonds and you decide to use wood. It just all depends on taste. Cool. I'm glad it came out nice. Love hearing your side and reasoning. Yes. Okay. So Linda, thank you. And my reasoning, I just like to explain things in a way that people can kind of understand why I do things the way I do them. Because most designers or just creatives, period, they kind of like get lost in the moment and really like want you to have your own interpretation of why something is the way it is, which is cool because you need that, because there's more than one mindset on how people process and think. But sometimes you need to kind of have a storyline behind it, which is actually the whole purpose of this so you can tell your story of whatever, you're trying to portray during certain times in your life. And in this case, it's a porch. Aaron, my favorite DIY projects. My favorite DIY projects are actually the ones that deal with furniture. I've really been getting into repurposing furniture on every level. I actually think I'm going to take up some carpentry classes just so I can learn the basics of how to make a couch. Like, that's how far I want to go. Those are my absolute favorite DIY projects. Yeah.
Nice. Love that.
That sounds really cool. Okay. Yes, it really is cool. I've really gotten into it because a lot of females too are starting to pick up carpentry and learning how to do the back breaking hard working things. And I was like, well, I could do that too. I don't see why not. So actually, like I was sharing with Sarah earlier, this wine rack that's behind me, it was just a black cast iron skillet color kind of, and all I did literally was paint and seal it with some spray paint, and it's like a whole brand new wine rack, literally. And I did some matching chairs and stuff like that too. But actually I might be able to show you. Hold on. Yeah, I'll show you. Okay, so this was the matching chair. I don't know if you can see. This is the chair. It's the same thing. And what makes these beauties pretty is that I actually did, to bring them out even more and to make them more up to date, I added this brooch on them. And like I said, most people wouldn't think to take something you wear on your body and clothes and put it on the back of a chair. So instantly, I just made a whole new chair, literally, just like that. So I tend to take a lot of stuff. You should teach us. I can. In the future, I would love to do that. That's actually like one of my passions, to do a lot of DIY projects in person. Yes, I did do the chair. Well, I didn't make the chair. I didn't do the frame on these ones. The frame came like it was a trend, but I did reconfigure it a little bit, because that's one thing I do is I reconfigure a lot of furniture or things that already was, and I kind of add to or take away to make it into something else. I do that. But how to make a bed frame. Oh, you know what? I'm actually working on that. I'm working on how to make a bed frame, but out of pallets, because one of my cousins recently, he does DIYs too with pallets, and he made a bed for a little girl out of pallets, and he used string lights underneath the bed to illuminate it. It looks so nice. Oh my gosh, it was so nice. I really am. I love DIY. It's especially customized towards you. Yes, and no one else can do the same thing, Linda. That's one thing I really do love about DIY, is that there are plenty of videos and plenty of people out there who have their way of how they make their stuff, but definitely no one's stuff ever looks alike. And I do like that aspect. That's why I really got into DIY, because it really does define you as a person, or them as a person. And then even when you get together for like a sip and paint, there might be a specific picture that you are painting, but even in that sense, people paint what they see in that picture of themselves. That's why no picture ever looks the same. If you ever been to a sip and paint, no one's picture ever looks the same, but they have an inspiration, a base to look at and interpret it on their own canvas. So yes, I do love that. I love that. Yes. Jazz, Sarah, what y'all got for me?
Yeah, I have a couple of questions for you.
Go ahead.
Feel free to add any more in the chat if anyone else has more questions, but I'm curious. You had mentioned trial and error is just a really good source of inspiration, like just getting out there and doing stuff. But I'm curious if there's any other favorite or go-to resources that you have that really help inform your creative practice.
Okay, some other I do have a couple of others. Like I like watching the HGTV channel, and there are like a couple of designers that I absolutely love anything that they do. And one of them is Hildy off of Love It or List It. It's like she takes people's beaten down, broken homes and turn it into $1 million, and she persuades so many people to stay in their house versus buying a whole new house, because all they needed was basically a fresh can of paint and a little rearrangement, and bam, you can have, you know, the dream houses you're looking for without paying for a whole separate home. And then after that, there's this one girl on YouTube. It's called what is she? Uda's Essentials. She makes like literally a plastic bag look like $1,000,000. Literally, she'll take cardboard and make it out to be a sofa. Like, that's how good she is. Like, she's hardcore. I'm trying to literally get on her level because she's she's amazing. She takes like anything and she uses like convenient stuff. Like I said, cardboard, PVC pipe, water bottles. Like, she takes typical stuff and you would never know unless you see her make it yourself and just, you know, go and run with it. But after that, I'll say inspiration, it can literally come from a conversation I had with somebody, or it can be me just, you know, being out and about, looking everywhere, and I saw a display in a store and I'm like, oh, I wonder how I could do that, but use it for something else. Like, that's one thing I do tend to do a lot. I tend to take things that are made for a specific thing, and I was like, well, why can't it be used for this too? And it ended up working. I do that a lot. Like, that's one thing I really do a lot of. Don't mind my dogs. They're my dogs. They're having fun. I can get inspiration from them too. But after that, I'll say most of it comes from just whatever pops in my mind. For whatever reason, I have like 1,000,001 things that constantly just race through my mind. And it could be from based on what I've heard or seen throughout, you know, my lifetime. But for the most part, I literally just come up with ideas on a whim. And so if anything, I do have a journal that I write it down. That way I don't forget it. But after that, it's literally me just coming up with stuff on a whim. Like, you can ask anybody who's associated with me. They'll say, okay, we need a centerpiece for a luncheon, but all we have is a glass vase and some paper. I can take that and just think of the first thing that comes to mind. Like, okay, what we could do is, if you fold the paper like you would origami, tape it together into a ball of some sort, bam, instant centerpiece. Like, most people wouldn't think that. They would just think to take the flat piece of paper and wrap it around a vase and stick a candle in it. That's what they would do. Most would do. But for some reason, my mind seems to always think of the impossible, or what is the least likely that somebody would think that would work, and it actually works. But trial and error is a good way too for me. I will say that. Yeah, I will say that.
Tram also shared, she said, I always feel like I don't have enough time to do my favorite thing.
Oh, honey.
How I need to prioritize time for
girl, let me tell you, to do this, what I'm doing right here, right now, I had to prioritize, literally. And I understand, but it came to a decision for me. You got to make time for the things you want. You really do. So if it's DIYs you really want to get into, you're going to have to set in some time. You might not get much rest, but you will have the time. So, and then it doesn't have to be like all in one day either. You can take like days at a time to do a project, depending on what kind of project it is. But for the most part, I literally take days to do one project. I don't do a project in one day. I think that's too much, because like you say, you just got to find time and prioritize. So I at least give myself an hour to do whatever project I'm doing at that time. And then probably the next day, another hour, and the next day, another hour. I always try to find at least an hour, because in that same sense, it was like, if you can find an hour to sit down and watch TV, then clearly you could just take that time away from the TV. I remember last time I've seen the TV, actually, and you can actually be doing something else that you really want to do. And so if it's really something you want to do, you're going to make the time. You just got to stop and think, well, what do I usually do? Or what time am I spending doing X, Y, Z? Or even if it's like at work and you're at least writing down what you plan on doing, I, try to stick to that. And even if I just accomplish like a third of it, which was, okay, I at least went out and bought all this stuff. That's one step closer that I am to getting my project done. I try to take everything in as a small victory, not just like if it's not the big overall finish. I tend to like take pieces at a time to build up to that big moment. And after that, oh, it really is. Time is of the essence. It really is. But if you know, as much time as you spend on scrolling through your phone, you could be doing something. So it's just a matter of you consciously be like, oh, I could be doing something else right now and not just relaxing and being lazy. Because I mean, if you like what you do, you really don't get no sleep. You really don't. I will say that you'll probably get a good cat nap. But after that, just like when you up studying for that exam or whatever the case may be, you might only had water and some crackers that whole day. But hey, you know, you got to sit right there, read, take your notes, and in between time, you might take another little 15-minute nap. But after that, no, you really do just got to, you know, make the time. You do. Yes, I think I need that. Yes, you do. You have to make deadlines for yourself. That's what I'm gotten real big about too, because I've set reminders in my phone. I've even set things in place to where it will annoy me to get it done. Like that's what I do. Like try to always keep it in your face. Like don't like hide it or tuck it away. Well, I can't tell you what to do, but this is what I do. I tend to keep things out so that I know what I need to get done. That way, oh, I can't let that sit there. That gotta go. Or oh my God, my phone went off like 8 times. Okay, let me just go take care of that. But it just takes time. It really does take time. It does. Yeah.
We'll have one more question. This
Okay.
coming from with me and Sarah. But
Alrighty.
we're curious about some ways, like you know, a lot of people don't necessarily have homes, but what are some ways that we can like rethink the idea of like designing for our home and apply that to like an apartment?
Right. For apartments or just little quaint spaces, I would say the best ways to kind of, you know, decorate or have that sense of, you know, appeal in your house, start with of course a wreath always works. And you can make your own wreath or you can buy it, or you can buy one that's kind of pre-made and kind of add some things that you know want to represent you or whatever you're going for. And after that, of course, say if you have like a little balcony, string lights always work, and those can stay up year round. Really, they can. And just after that, usually a focal point would be like glass vases with flowers. But if you're not a flowers person, you can go the whole like, what are some of your favorite candles that you like, and books, stack those in the middle of a table, and play with colors and metals. And you don't have to break the budget in order to do that. Literally, you can go to the dollar store and find half of that stuff. Maybe take picture frames and mount them on the wall as such. And instead of putting pictures in them, what I actually did is take fingernail polish and do like a pour effect on the glass. And that's like an instant, your version of a, what do they call those? That technique. Oh, Dutch pour technique. You can literally have that and just put it anywhere you want in your, you know, in your house. Mirrors are actually another way of bringing in some class to your house. You can either get the, you know, the long, tall ones or the small ones in different heights and sit them like right against the wall in the corner and stuff. Pillows are always a thing. You know, with your couch, you can always use pillows in different colors and different textures and sizes, and just use the pillows you already have and just buy covers. And covers are like $8, or you might get lucky and just take a sheet that you like or a piece of fabric that you like and hot glue it as such, and there you go, kind of thing. But after that, rearranging the furniture in your house or how you set up things is another way of getting a different feel or different look in your home. Mixing things up too is a good way that people actually started doing things. Like everybody doesn't do the traditional all dining room tables anymore. They actually do bench, a couple of tables and maybe a couple of side chairs that you would normally put in the living room and vice versa on the couch. Now you have, I don't know, two beanbag chairs instead of the traditional love seats that people normally do. But mixing and matching, that's actually a perfect way to dress up your home with the things you have. And covers usually is always a good one. Throws, what they call them, and it doesn't have to be fur. It could be nice quilts or blankets that you might have laying around, and you can fold them accordingly, which is either I call it the Swiss cake roll method. So where you will fold it and then you just roll it, and it kind of looks like a giant Swiss cake roll, and you can sit that on your pillow, and that can add a whole nother, element to your thing. And then also placemats. Placemats are a good one too. If you really can't like paint your wall, or you don't want to, or you don't want to do wallpaper, a nice textured or geographic placemats are good to have around, either on the floor, on the table, on your island if you have an island. And then once again, just play with different things. Like even if you want to display your cocktail glasses, you could kind of lay them out accordingly. So it's plenty of different ways how you can do stuff. It really is. It just depends on what you have. And if you want to add to, you can. But like you say, know where to start. Find your base, your structure first, which is what you already have. And then just add little components here and there. Even if it's within your house, you can always remove it and take it there. Like what if it's something you always have in the bathroom? It might work better in the kitchen instead. Move it there. It'll be fine. And then vice versa. If you have like one last standing, I don't know, canister that you had in your kitchen, how about you put that in your bathroom instead and put Q-tips in it? There you go. Instant cute. So yeah.
And I love that. And again, like we thank you so much for this this workshop and this presentation. And I know like for me, like a lot of the main takeaways is like trying to figure out how, or not takeaways, but how we can incorporate our personality into event design or home design, and how we started approaching that. So that was super helpful.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Josie. We appreciate it.
Absolutely. But yeah, anything that you do, it should always just make it you, and it'll be fine. Because everything that we see in life, or everybody that people look up to, as far as, I guess you could call it a celebrity status, all they do is literally do them. They don't care. Once you have that carefree attitude, but to a sense where you're humble and still are a very inviting person that people actually want to get to know, everything that you do, it will always work. Always. Yes, it will always work.
That's right.
Yeah.
For all that good energy. Thank you, everybody else who joined as well. I hope you have a good rest of your night, and make sure to follow Josie. Will definitely share her information in the email sent, and follow this connection so you can get more information, and also get a recap in case you forget the three M's. So
yes.
Love it. All right, everyone. Have a good night.
Have a good night, everyone. Nice meeting you, Linda, Tram, and Aaron. Thanks for coming.
See ya.
Thanks, guys. And the next Distant Connections workshop will actually be next Saturday on the 14th. So
yes, can't wait to see it.
See y'all there.